All right, welcome to Creator Hardware, where today we're going to talk about B-roll, how to use it, when to use it. All right, so this is Creator Hardware, where we talk about the hardware and software to make online content. Make sure and subscribe to get more videos like this. Let's talk about B-roll. If you're not familiar with it, A-roll is what I'm talking to you right now. A-roll is the main camera that's telling the main story. B-roll is supporting footage. B-roll would be like close-ups of a product you're reviewing to insert into the video. B-roll is establishing you walking into a restaurant when you're going to do a vlog. That is B-roll. B-roll is all the supporting shots you get to make a cohesive story. When you go ahead and do your edit, you're going to want to put that B-roll in places where it makes sense. You're going into a coffee shop, you put in a shot of the coffee being poured, then making the nice little design on the top. That kind of shot helps tell the story of your day. That's the appropriate use of B-roll. On the other side of it, inserting shots of you walking upstairs when you're talking about a mouse doesn't make sense, doesn't support the story. So when you're thinking about shooting B-roll, you want to shoot B-roll that makes sense for the story you're trying to tell. All right, so we're going to talk about how to use B-roll, when to use B-roll, and when not to use B-roll. All right, just an FYI, I'm going to be talking about a lot of my opinions on watching online content, so keep that in mind. So when you use B-roll can vary depending on what kind of content you're shooting. Like, let's say you're shooting a vlog where you're showing your day. Taking out a camera and shooting your coffee being poured, you starting your day, perfectly good use of B-roll. If you're shooting product and you pull out a camera and shoot a bunch of shots of the product, very good use of that B-roll. When you put in a piece of B-roll that doesn't pertain to the actual video you're shooting, it takes away from the story you're trying to tell, whether it's being on your day in your life or product or teaching somebody how to do something. It just doesn't belong. So just because you shot that gorgeous B-roll drone shot, you don't need it. So let's talk some of the proper uses of B-roll. We talked about you shooting a product video. One of the great ways to cover up a cut is inserting B-roll into that shot. So instead of having a hard cut, you've got B-roll to cover up that shot while you're still talking. That's a great use of B-roll. B-roll is also great for introducing a subject. So you shoot a quick little B-roll shot of the product and you insert that in the beginning of the video, get people to see what you're talking about. It's a great use of it. Content creators get caught up in B-roll, I think too much, and they tend to stick in too much B-roll that doesn't pertain to the video they're shooting. You'll get a walking shot of somebody and then you'll get, the sunset and they're talking about a microphone or they're talking about a camera or they're, it's like B-roll shots of a camera review are good because, well, it's a camera review. But when you're talking about something else besides a camera, a bunch of B-roll that doesn't pertain to what you're talking about is useless. Understand that that's an incorrect use of B-roll. One of the things that I find annoying is also too much B-roll. When you're watching a 12-minute video on a guy that's out camping, for instance, and you've got 4 minutes of them chopping wood, no. You show 30 seconds of them chopping wood, even though we know it's 4 hours of chopping wood, but you get my point, is you want to establish the shot, but not overuse the shot, because that doesn't help tell the story, that just drags on the story. And that's one of the things with B-roll, is you need to have concise stories to help support your main story. A good use of B-roll for a product shot is taking a bunch of shots of the product and using that during a cutscene. Let's say you're talking, you need to cut out a kind of scene. You can put B-roll on top, and you have, after your cut, instead of having a hard cut line, you've got B-roll to cover up that cut. That's a good use of B-roll. You're talking about a product, let's say this mouse, because it's sitting right here, and you're talking about the click feel. That's a good place to put in, well, you clicking on the mouse, because it helps tell the story. Another good use of B-roll is supporting footage. Talking about that same product, and you might interject a shot of, you using the product. That's a good piece of B-roll to insert in various places. Don't be afraid of not using B-roll. Just because you shot it doesn't mean it belongs in the story. You want a cohesive story with your B-roll. Throwing in a drone shot is a pet peeve of mine. It just is. Drones can make some gorgeous B-roll shots, and when it's conducive to the story, lovely. But on the other side of it, you're shooting in a studio like this, and then all of a sudden you cut to a shot of a valley or something like that. It makes no sense to the story you're telling. It just doesn't. So don't use it. Too many content creators do that. It makes it annoying to watch the video. B-roll that doesn't pertain to the video you're watching just doesn't make sense. And it pulls you out of caring about what's going on. That's something you have to understand, is B-roll, when done right, can be amazing. Can help pull the story together, but when done wrong, click, they're gone. So I hope this video was helpful. As always, hit record, hit upload. Thanks for watching. This is Creator Hardware.